That's about as far as our glove box. Might be able to get a pair of gloves in it.
Well, maybe we won't call it a glove box. Maybe we'll call it a file folder. Because it opens about as far as a file folder.
You put your envelope with your registration.
Jump up there, young man. Let me take a look. See how bad you screwed it up.
No, it's at the bottom of the door. It's hitting the under dash panel itself. We can't move that back unless we redesign it.
Well, let me ask you a question. If your piano hinge works on here, will piano hinge work on here?
It'll take a little bit of work, but we can do it. Oh yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Now it's just a matter of cutting that hole and see if we have to tweak it so it sits up like this. I think it'd be okay sitting down like that. And like I said, if you can get this thing centered right smack dab in the middle of that line there, Tyler. You know what I mean? This line here.
Yep.
Make sure that this stays right in line with that. I think that'll look cool. We'll make a template up here. Is it in it?
No.
Come on! Dakota Digital didn't send a template with the gauge package itself, so what we're going to do is end up taking this chrome bezel off of here and just make the template out of here. So, yeah, just take that off of there, okay? And we'll use this for a template.
We got the whole under dash panel made. All the vents are installed. The control unit's installed. The steering column is located and tightened up now. Right now, Andy's making the gauges for it. And it should be done today, if Andy hurries up.
Well, there, center line to center line, really close to the column, and it's going to make it kind of hard to see it. Go half inch, about there. I think it's a lot better. Well, it's going to be driver preference where the column's going to be, so I mean, he could want it up high and hide half of this thing. So a gauge down at the very bottom, obviously you're going to be pretty well hidden if you put it where center line is. So half inch, make it a bit more visible.
If you go up any higher, Tyler, you're going to end up having to build a shield over it.
All right.
You're going to take away from the depth of the dashboard. I mean, you're still going to have to build a shield, but I was thinking just a little one. So like I said, the bottom line is you need to put the steering wheel on. I agree with you, it does look a little bit low, but I think once it's recessed back in there, as long as you have an area through the steering wheel to see it and try it in all different locations to make sure that you can in fact see the gauge package.
That's where it needs to be. That's where you want it.
That's where what?
That's about where you want it. Maybe a 1/4 inch above 1/8 inch.
That's where you should be able to see it, right?
At my height, you can see it. I can see it straight through the wheel.
Jump out there a second. Let me see with my height. Perfect. Perfecto.
See it right through the wheel.
Even if he rides it this way, still see it right through. You agree with me? Mm-hmm. Cut the hole.
Okay.
If it's wrong, I'll blame you.
Alright, now we got the hole cut. We got our flange across the top of it. It's gonna be like a little eyebrow there. We'll smooth that all out. See how it fits. Like a glove.
Practical for the guy at 6'4", or the woman that's 5'2". With an electronic seat, you should be able to do that. That's why we're going through the expense. Right? Remember, this should have been in the body shop 3 weeks ago. So this really needs to be done by the time I leave. Guess what? I'm leaving Thursday morning.
I'll just unbolt under everything and just...
What are you doing? We just built the car.
Well, I'm tearing it
back
apart now. So I like tearing things apart. Alright, I just took all these fenders off this 32 here, and we're going to take them up to the body shop and start prepping them so we can fix all the little dents and dings, and we're going to put primer on them and block them down. Ought to be pretty easy. This is all new stuff.
Seats are both in now. we can go ahead and get started on the back seat. We gotta jack the body up so we can tighten up the bolts on the front, and we're just about done here. Right now I'm just trying to figure out the location of the back seat. Just got the battery tray done, and we're gonna get the back seat as far back as we can. And then we're gonna hinge it in the front so we can lift it up and have a little bit of storage underneath there. So just gonna finish that up now.
Just weld a stud on it
Okay.
that you can, fold it together right in the center.
So just make a raised piece for this and some sort of support that goes back.
Cross the piece in the center.
Okay.
And like I said, you can plug weld right or weld a nut right on there so it just folds right into it. We need something that folds down, but we can make a seat that folds down. Because I have 2 sets of buckets of it. They're the same identical thing as this, except these are 19s, those are 21s. You have 3 options here. Okay? You can use the whole seat, or option 2 is to use pieces of the seat, or option 3 is to build one out of wood.
I gotta figure out how much leather it's gonna take to do that car three-piece building, the 32. So far I'm up to about $5,184 for just 9 pieces of hide.
This is a chassis, the original chassis from the 32 two-door we're working on. We want to take it back, clean it up a little bit. We're going to set the body back on here and give it to the body shop and let them do their shtick as far as the welding and stuff, the roof and all that kind of thing. Meanwhile, we can keep the good chassis and we can finish up the brake lines and stuff that have to be finished.
You don't want to bring me up the, why don't you bring me up the cast stanchions so I can get the bottom in the right place.
Okay.
Bring me the bolts for, I know they were just mock-up crap, but bring me those.
Okay.
Just so I can get it back in where it's supposed to be. What about the third eye? I'll need that too.
Okay. I'll bring that too.
Because that gets smooched.
Do you just need the lens?
Yeah, yeah, I don't need all the mounting hardware. Just the actual plastic lens.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
Alright. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the SEMA show. I hope you're as impressed as I am from the scenes that you've seen from day 1. We're totally blown away. Once again, they've outdone themselves here. The amount of cars, the amount of people, the amount of celebrities, the amount of new products that have been brought to the marketplace. As I indicated in the past, this industry has grown to a $1 billion a year industry. Many of the parts that you've seen, many of the parts that we're going to show you over the next couple of days here are parts that you will be using on your car and also available in our speed shop. And hopefully you're as impressed with the amount of product that's now available on the marketplace. So we'll share with you as much information we can from the show itself, and welcome back to the SEMA show day 2. Good morning. Sitting with Jerry Kennedy from NSRA. A lot of you remember last year we did an interview with Jerry and talked about some of the events. So back by popular demand is Jerry Kennedy. Jerry, how was the season? I mean, we talked to several people while we were out. Do you think that the economy of the gas had an effect on your events?
Well, you know, it's funny you asked that, Brian. A year ago, I would have told you probably not, that we were finding a lot of people were giving up a whole lot of things before they gave up their hobby. However, this year we found it affecting the participants in a mild manner, but even more so to some of the exhibitors, our arts and crafts vendors, and people that normally travel a long way across the country. They were watching more closely how many events they were going to and picking and choosing the events they were going to rather than going them all. So yes, I definitely believe it played a big factor this year.
Well, you know, a lot of guys I've talked to this past year are talking, you know, creativity just bleeds in the sport, and one of the things that is on the hot button or the hot topic right now is doing these eco-friendly cars, you know, cars that run on ethanol or E85 or even, you know, green machines, what do they call them, the hybrids, you know, and adapting that into the sport. Do you think that that's something that you'll see in the next couple of years?
Well, you know, several years ago, they got into the sport of street rodding, got into the V6s and the smaller type engines, and there's nothing more predominant in the sport of street rodding than horsepower and horsepower related. But I'm sure you're going to find the main flow of the sport continue to stay relatively to the horsepower, but you're going to find a lot of those, and especially the guy that's geared to driving his vehicle down the road is going to continue to do everything he can to make them much more mileage friendly, and they will be experimenting into this. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Let's talk a little bit about the events for the 2008 season. Do you think that you all are going to be adding any shows, taking away any shows, or you think there will be any changes in the schedule?
We are short one show in the 2008 season. Our event in Milwaukee is not going to happen this year. We're looking for a replacement site as we speak. Last year too, the schedule for NSRA changed, whereas we had a total of 5 events that were opened up to the 30-year sliding scale. In other words, in 2008, these events will be open to all vehicles 1978 and older. And 3 of those events that were changed around last year happened to be the last 3 events of the year, and they were all 3 record-setting events. So we're finding a lot of our members have asked us that they want to include some of the later model cars. A lot of people don't realize NSRA did that up until 1979 and then chose to go strictly the pre-48 route. But if we look back at when the association started in 1970 to the pre-48 cutoff, that difference between that 48-year model and 1970 was 22 years. If you add that same theory to today, you're talking about somebody that's driving a 1988. And if we're going to continue to entice the younger people into the sport, we believe that we have to back up and offer them this sport, and then let them see, well, maybe they can get into the older type cars, you know. But we have found out that it's a lot of nice muscle cars, that type of thing out there that's running down the road with these street rods today.
There was a study just done recently, and people, you know, the interest in street rodding, and it's ironic that the highest response they got from a age group was the age group of 16 to 24. So maybe it's coming back. Maybe it's coming full circle. I know that people that in the 30s and 40s, the people that grew up with muscle cars, or even the 50s, are trying to go back to that, you know, to that era. But it seems that the younger generation, the guys that are in their 20s, you know, teens and 20s, are really getting into this street rodding from a different aspect, and we all know that to be the nostalgia rods or the rat rods. Do you see a definite increase of those types of cars at your events?
Oh, by all means, and it goes right back to the same thing. What can you afford? Back when every one of us were young people, you tried to have a race car, a show car, a go-to-work car, and a car to drive on a date, and that was all going to be the same car. Well, it doesn't take you very long to realize that you cannot do that. So as you start getting more well-established in life, you start being able to play with your hobbies. And it doesn't matter if you're into boats, or if you're into snowmobiles, or if you're into street rods. But we have found, indeed, as these younger people come across, a lot of them, they don't know exactly what it is that these old cars are, but they know that they like it. And they started out with cars that were newer to what they are in age. Number one, because they could have bought them on a credit card and this type of thing. Once they get over here, they find out, these cars are affordable because the same components that we're putting on these late model cars are the same components that are going on these street rods, but yet I can be different. I can have one like this and not be like everything going down the road. So I think it's true exposure. We continue to, every event that the National Street Rod Association does, on Friday of the event, we continue to bring in a high school or a VOTEC class to our events to expose them to the sport and to show them too that the commercial vendors and the businesses that are represented at places like SEMA, these products, components started in the back of somebody's garage. They have turned them into lucrative jobs and lucrative businesses, and they're looking for young talent to go to work for them. And why not spend your lifetime doing something you want to do instead of something you have to do?
Well, we have a relationship with one of those gentlemen. That's Pete Chaporis, the owner now of SoCal, which we're a franchise of. That's basically where him and Jake started out of, their garages, and they started to build those products. And now Pete Chaporis is one of the most recognized names in the industry. And I think you're absolutely right. It's neat to see the generation that's entering our speed shop now, or even coming to our mobile booth, which is, going out to all of your shows. We're planning on doing, I believe, 8 of the 12 events that you'll have next year. But I think the change in the philosophy, our viewers see in our shop, the high-end cars that we build. However, in the next couple of months, they're going to start to see is that change back to the nostalgia style. So we're looking forward to it, and it's going to be exciting because a lot of the guys in our shop are younger and come out of the WyoTechs, the technical schools, and have that interest in that type of traditional street rodding. So isn't it ironic how it's come all full circle? I remember when I was a kid, my dad built his car in the back of his garage, and I think the movement has been to very high-end cars over the last couple of years. Now maybe it's moving backwards. So, well, we look forward to be on the road with you this year. I know Dave Miller and the truck will be out to at least 8 of the events, and we're looking to become a super prize sponsor with you. So appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you, Brian, and just keep them streeting.
Vegas once again, exciting new products. I think the big emphasis this year was on audio and video equipment. Video in automobiles has taken off. So, you're seeing a lot more backup cameras. I've never seen so many backup cameras in my entire life. Cameras alone, I haven't seen that many cameras. So, again, audio and video has really been an emphasis this year. It's kind of neat too is where for last 15, 20 years of hot rodding, it seemed that everybody was making a custom product. Now what it seems like everybody's doing is building retrofit products that basically mimic the original ones but are new and improved through technology, through engineering, and all of the things that are from that standpoint. So we've gotten signed up with probably out there, I don't know, 100, 150, maybe 200 vendors for various products. So they're available here at our speed shop. And if you see something creative, call, because you never know, they're probably making it. Or if you just have an idea, just call, because like I said, the products are just coming out of the woodwork. One of the things that has never ceased to amaze me about SEMA as a whole, people build cars just for SEMA. And what I mean by that is the car is built and finished for the SEMA show, and then virtually is stored somewhere. It's kind of like, a show car built for one show, and I don't know, I just, I'm just amazed, number one, and I guess also kind of surprised, because like I said, these vehicles that are being built are not, $10,000 vehicles. These are $200,000, $250,000 vehicles are built just specifically for the show. So we have talked for several years about building one to take it out there, but quite frankly, what's the purpose? I don't see why people build cars to take them out there in the first place, because most of the people that are attending, if not all the people who are attending, are really competitors of one another. Either they're, you know, an auto parts store, or they're another builder, or, you know, they're a customizer. So why they do this to show off their own products, you know, maybe there are people there buying them. I don't see it, but, you know, who knows? So the cars are just unbelievable. The 32, you know, again, we were in crunch time on this thing. We were rushing to get the thing done, and I talked to David and Lowe's the other night, and again, talked about completion date. We were shooting for mid-December, and come to find out that they're going to actually be out of the country for 2.5 months, so we're going to actually deliver the car, and the day that we deliver it, we're going to go out of the country. So I got him to convince that there's no reason to rush for it to sit in his garage. So he's also graciously agreed that once we get the car done, that we can take it to various car shows. While they're out of the country enjoying themselves, we can be enjoying ourselves with their car from the standpoint of showing it off and showing it to the general public. So we're real excited about it, and we're getting it done as fast as we can. So it will be at the Pittsburgh World of Wheels, so make sure that you attend, because that to be able to see how the car was built and then actually see it in person is going to be really interesting for many of the viewers. For the Pittsburgh World of Wheels, we're really focusing on 3 vehicles. That will be the 32, which, you know, we're painstakingly pushing to get done because of the complexity of it. Foos's car, if Mike and I can come to some terms as far as agreement upon the changes he wants to constantly make, and also Bill Blynn's 70 Challenger. We're going to do a big splash on the 70 Challenger down there, so it's going to be a neat display. I'm not going to give away any more than that at this point in time. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that if you attend, you're going to be impressed. You know, the question is are we going to do a surprise unveiling of any one of our cars? And I'm contemplating it. I would really have loved to do it with David and Lois. I would really love to invite them, and I'm still working on it because they're not due back until February 29th, but I would really love them to come home a week early so that we can bring them in and debut their car at the Pittsburgh World of Wheels in front of the general public. So who knows? Who knows? We might just be able to pull that all off with them. Although, I don't know, they're going to the Caribbean, I think, and to pull them home for a week, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But hey, when their baby's sitting there being displayed to the general public, they may be very interested in doing that. Call it what you want. Crunch time, sacrifice time, you know, pure excitement and adrenaline around the shop. But, you know, the camera's not going to be filming when we're here at 12 o'clock at night putting these cars together. And, you know, the camera's not going to be filming now that the holidays are coming. You know, Christmas. Who knows, Christmas Eve, instead of wrapping presents, we may be building presents out there. So stay tuned. Here we go again. But we're looking forward to it.
I am an overseer.
Oh, you're pretty overbearing, I know that. What can I do for you?
Are you going to sit at this red light till it turns green or what?
I think I will. What did you observe?
I was trying to figure out what the hell you was doing.
With what?
With whatever you was doing, nothing. Like you.
Hey, I got a truck and trailer with a frame on it. What do you got?
I'm riding.
Zip.
I'm still observing. Hey, we can come down to Dairy Queen if you want.
That's
I think
right.
it's about break time.
Break time, right?